Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. We have a special guest today that has been covering lead generation. We're going to dive into basically lead generation 101. But obviously, being a real estate investor, this individual is tech savvy as well and, has gone through all the trial and error to be able to get to this point. So I'm excited to have him on here to really be able to selfishly get better at Facebook ads or whatever it may be, to be able to soak in more lead generation and lower my cost to be able to do so. So I know you guys can take a lot of value from this as well. Make sure you guys are prepared with pen, a pad to be able to take some notes here, and just super excited. So Bryan, what's up, man? How are you today?
Going on, man? How you doing?
Good. I appreciate you jumping on and joining us. I know you have a lot of expertise when it comes down to this field. So for anybody out there that doesn't know more about your story, your history, what you're up to, do you mind just diving in a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. I'll give the cliff notes. So I got into digital marketing back in 2004, 2003, something like that, a long time ago. Originally, I started in SEO. I got involved with a website called Odesk. It now turned into Upwork, just freelancing.
Yeah.
Charging people $10, $20, just figuring doing these job and just still learning. And I learned everything trial by error. And I grew a whole business there. And I started dealing with large national and international companies, like e-commerce, stuff like that. And then about 6-7 years ago, I was looking for a house. I was just dabbling around on Craigslist and I stumbled on a wholesaler. I'm like, okay, let me go check this property. I went out, this place was trashed. You turned the water on, it rained in the basement. I got to experience how to get screwed over by contractors multiple times on that one.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great learning experience. So, and I saw what I paid the wholesaler, which was cool because the numbers made sense. But I'm like, wait a minute, I can probably just slap something together here and try to get my own leads, save $10,000 or $15,000, whatever the wholesale fees are. So I put together a Carrot website, just a generic site, just slapped one up, stuck some ads behind it and started getting leads. So that's where this business came from, specializing in, I changed my whole focus onto local marketing for real estate investors, just because the space there's not a lot of people really doing a crazy good job helping people generate leads, Yeah. So that's where I turned my direction there. I do a lot of buy and hold myself. I buy junkers, fix them up, and I just keep them. And then even something for all your audience too, I only invest in one zip code. So all the leads I get outside of my zip code, I partner up with a wholesaler in Pittsburgh and we just split profits. So it's a lot of guys are I get leads out of my area. You can still do something with those. So it's kind of my 2-minute spiel on the background.
No, I love that. So what market are you in currently?
I'm in Pittsburgh, South Hills of Pittsburgh. Yep.
Okay, nice. And then when did you start this whole process? What was your first property that you actually picked up on your own?
Yeah, my first property, it was $100,000, picked it up it was a hoarder house.
Yeah.
Got it for $100,000 cash. Went in. I even underbid that one too. I'm like, okay, it was 3 30-yard dumpsters. Just to place that. So it had a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
You opened the refrigerator, the electric was cut for a couple of weeks, and they had a chicken in the freezer, which made you want to barf. It was. But yeah, it turned around. So you get it for $100,000. I put $35,000 into it and appraised at $230,000. So numbers made sense. And I just keep them. So it's kind of like pushing that equity into the future. I just do the burr method.
Yeah.
Then I go to the bank, pull my initial cash back out, and I do it again.
Yeah, I love it. So what year did you start doing this?
Probably about 2015.
2015. Okay. And how long were you doing SEO and just digital marketing in general prior?
Yeah, I've been doing that since 2000, probably over 15 years.
Yeah, love it. Great.
Yeah.
So naturally, you just put 2 and 2 together once you saw the one guy made 10, 15K and off your deal, and it still made sense, the numbers for you. But, you put an ad together, you started getting some leads coming in. What kind of rookie mistakes, did you potentially make? Obviously, you were good at digital marketing prior, but, this was it's a new marketing stream, right? It's real estate. Right. It's completely different. So was there any rookie mistakes that you made on the ads in the beginning?
I'd say not necessarily on the ads. but how I handled the leads were rookie mistakes because like in this space, time is so important. It's like, if you get a lead, you got to call them in like 2 minutes. Yeah. It's not like, oh yeah, I can call them all once a day and get back to them. It's like, no, you got to get back to them ASAP.
Now, yeah.
And anyone who's doing that now is experiencing that, do it really fast. And what I did was eventually I evolved into, I had a notepad like on my phone that just had a text written on it. It says, hey, thanks for filling out a form on my website. Here's a link to my calendar. Book a time for us to come give you an offer. Yeah. So I'd shoot that text when it came in immediately if I couldn't call them. And then I branched into doing it through a CRM. So it's automated. So I don't have to manually do it anymore.
Okay, nice. So you're very tech savvy apparently, because you systemize a lot of this, and any leads that aren't in your area, then you got creative and now you partner up with people you're not just like wholesaling it and getting a flat one-time fee, right? You're actually invested in these deals as well, right?
Yeah. So what I do, if it's an overflow, like out of my area, I just send it like one of the guys named Dustin. I just shoot him over the lead. It just automatically goes to him. They run it. If they lock it up, we split it 50-50.
Love it. Okay, cool. How many projects do you have on your own currently? And then partnerships?
Yeah, I have about 20 properties myself. Okay. And then partnerships, I got about 5 that we're holding. And then I think we got like 5 or 6 waiting to close right now, like on the wholesale side.
Nice. What are you typically seeing per month on actually like closing?
On closing, it depends. Like you mean dollar wise or deals?
Deals.
I usually like 3 to 5.
Yeah. And then market wise, it's like nationwide, it's going to vary as far as dollar amount. So like your area can be completely different. Like San Diego, I paid my wholesalers like 40 to 50,000. And the marketing cost to actually get those leads are right around 7,500 to about 10K typically.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. So Pittsburgh, I can generate a lead for like 65 to 75 bucks. San Diego, it costs like $350 to get that same lead in San Diego.
Wow, that's crazy.
San Diego is one of the most competitive places I know in the US. San Diego, Salt Lake City, really, really expensive, real hard.
So you've done the research, the due diligence on other areas nationwide as well.
Oh yeah. So I manage about 100 investors marketing for them also nationally.
Okay. And that's with your other business. What is that called?
Motivated Leads.
Motivated Leads. Okay. How long have you been running that?
We've been doing that about 1.5 years.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Do you have a partner with that, or is that just all? Okay.
Yeah. Me and my buddy, Chad, he was actually involved with really big on e-commerce also. And I did a lot of the SEO stuff. He did a lot of the Facebook stuff. We did that. And I'm like, hey, dude, check this out. He always wanted to get into real estate. He saw what I was doing. I'm like, all right, let's do something. And then we started doing this too. And it just blew up, because he has like huge experience on the Facebook side.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your guys' lead generation all is from Facebook ads, correct? Or are you doing pay-per-click? Are you doing any other type of lead generation?
Yeah. So for our local stuff, I'm doing SEO, Google pay-per-click, Bing ads, which is still a thing. Like people actually click those, and Facebook ads. So yeah, I do all 4 of them.
Bing ads. Talk to me about that. I'm like a rookie of this. I have no idea. I've never even heard of that.
Okay. Well, Bing is MSN. It's like what all the old people still have in their browser.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you figure if someone goes to MSN or yahoo.com, they have ads also, which is owned by Microsoft. So you have Google pay-per-click, which has their whole network you can advertise on. Then you have Microsoft, which they call it Bing. It's the same kind of platform. It's just like Google pay-per-click, except the cost per click is way cheaper. And it doesn't get that much traffic either. It's not like Google. Google probably gets 70-80% of the traffic nationally. But there are people searching on MSN.com, Yahoo.com. And the people that are usually older people because that was popular 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. And that's the demographics we're targeting. You know what I mean?
Okay. So that's perfect for you because at the end of the day, the ad spend probably goes a hell of a lot farther because less competition. There's not as many people like wearing down your ad, correct?
It does. The only problem is you can't spend that much. Like it doesn't have as big a reach. There's not a big enough audience to really like scale up. You'll have leads trickling in from there.
Yeah.
But like if you want to play, you got to be on Facebook and pay-per-click and all that stuff too.
So you get capped out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me. This is pretty good because I'm clueless when it comes down to ads. We always just pay wholesalers the fee and because I'm not tech savvy, we haven't found anybody like yourself to be able to really run it for us. So talk to me, like walk me through if I wanted to start this today myself, where would you recommend? Would you recommend hitting all of those marketing pieces just like you do? Or would you say stick with Facebook or Google? SEO.
Okay, so say you were getting into it, you didn't have a website or anything. You're like, hey, I'm getting into this. I'm currently doing mailers and text and telemarketing. So I'd say number one, you got to get a website. You can go to somewhere like carrot.com. They have decent websites that you can have live in like 30 minutes. You can go to a web designer and have them make you like a WordPress site. Might cost you like $500 to $1,000. But number one, you have to get a website made. Second thing is, and you guys can look at my local site. It's 412houses.com. It's just a basic Carrot site. But the reason I bring that up is you want to have clear messaging on the website. You wanted to say, sell your house fast. We're cash home buyers, stuff like that. Don't try getting leads like saying, hey, we'll give you a home valuation or like how much your house is worth, because it's going to get you garbage. Be really direct with the people. And then if they're looking to sell and they're in that situation, they will. So you get the website made. Then I would recommend starting with Facebook. Reason is Facebook is the cheapest cost per lead I see in most areas. The reason is Google pay-per-click, you're bidding on keywords. So you're bidding on, say someone bidding on sell my house fast. Someone might be bidding $20, $30 per click, which is really expensive.
Yeah.
On Facebook, we're not bidding on keywords. We're bidding on where area we want an ad to show in a Facebook feed. So we could be like, hey, I want to show ads in San Diego. I'm competing against the barbers, the local shoe stores. I'm not in direct competition with investors, which investors are super competitive. Like on Google pay-per-click, if you get outbid, you're like, a lot of these guys, they just have deep pockets and they just keep spending.
Yeah, they're okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Facebook, you're paying per impression. You might pay $20 or $30, whatever it is, per 1,000 views. So you can get in front of a lot more people for a cheaper cost. And then I usually go Facebook, then I would add Google pay-per-click, and then SEO, which is a real long play, which is ranking in a free section to Google.
Okay. So the ad itself, is it a video? Is it just a, hey, we buy your house right now, cash, close quick, and then it directs them to the website? Or how does that look?
So we'll do different things. Like normally, if you're doing ads, you want to be directing your ad too. Say like, we buy houses. We're cash home buyers. Sell your house fast. Have pictures of homes that you're targeting. Don't put pretty houses if you're looking for garbage and junkers. And don't put junk houses if you're looking for like real fancy stuff. Like put in there what you're looking for. And then, you're going to have it be direct. And then they click that ad. Then that directs them to the website. And that's where the additional information is on you. And you want to have that clear, because then if they're interested, then they'll fill out a form. And also, I like the website more as like a disqualifier. It's like, hey, here's what we do and here's what we don't do. So we don't get bombarded with people that are saying, hey, everything's for sale for the right price or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or want you to like be a realtor and sell their property, at top dollar or something. Yeah. Okay.
100%. And then one other thing too, which a lot of these sites like Carrot come with. So let me say on the homepage, they ask basic questions. What's your address, phone number, and email? After they submit that, there's a whole nother page of questions. So you caught their phone and email up front. But the second page is asking like, why do you want to sell? What are your goals? How fast do you want to sell? How much work's it need? Is it tenant occupied or owner? And get that information too. Don't be scared to ask questions once you got their phone number, because the people that are motivated will give you that information and the people that aren't won't. So it's a good determining factor, and you get that info before you even get on the phone with them.
That's so good. So if they don't fill out the extra form, basically, then don't even bother calling or put that on the back burner.
Yeah, I still call them. It's just know there's going to be a high likelihood that they're listed. Like some of them are listed on the market. I see the people that come through the first one and don't go to the second, because that's a question on the second. Yeah. Or they're just looking for too much money. And it's too much work. Like it's like, oh, I got to fill those out too.
Yeah.
Versus the people that really want to sell, they're like, I'll fill out 100 questions if you're look legit,
Yeah, it's just the motivation level at the end of the day. It's like they're not motivated enough. So, it's probably not going to be a deal there at the time.
100%.
So,
yeah.
Now, after you get them to fill out that form on the second half and you get it right away, do you hire on people to actually like call them or like closers, or do you handle that yourself? What do you recommend?
You know what I do is I set up a text message drip, the number one that says, hey, you can book a call. Or book it, not even book a call, book an appointment for us to come give an offer. I'd say probably 40% of people book that without even talking to you. And that's huge. Number one, it shows motivation. And also if you're in Pittsburgh and I'm in Pittsburgh and it's 2 a.m. and you fill out your website and then you fill out my website and it books an appointment, by the time the other person calls them the next day, a lot of times they don't answer because the appointment, like they already feel like they've achieved what they needed to.
Yeah, that's true.
But then also I'll call people personally. Like if someone comes on my website in the zip code I buy, I will call them within seconds. Like no joke. I will drop what I'm doing and then I'll leave my house or wherever I'm at, and I'll go meet them if they're ready right now.
Yeah.
But all the other leads, I forward over to Dustin, and they run them like on the phone
Okay.
call after that text.
Okay, wow. So basically doing, what is it, SMS and text blast?
Right. Yeah. And
Okay.
you know what? There's a CRM that does that easy. It's called Go High Level. You
Oh,
can
high
set that,
level.
yeah, you can set it up. It's like $97 or $197. It's a full CRM, but it integrates text message and phone calls. You can do voicemail drips in there too. So you can shoot from your website through Zapier in a webhook. What that does, it takes all the information from your form, shoots it into the CRM, and then the CRM automatically sends a text message out. And you can have that automatically drip message for like 60 days if you want.
Wow.
If you can't
Yeah,
get a
that's
hold
great.
of them, it will just follow up with them for you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that makes it very affordable and saves you time, most importantly. So you can be very proactive and get these leads like nurtured.
Right. Yeah. And keep track of them too, like which ones you called and not and all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, after they fill out the form, you send out the text blast, they book an appointment. Are you still jumping on a phone call with them to kind of qualify them and try to close them over the phone? Or is it just to book that appointment, go out to the property itself, and then qualify them there?
Yeah. So what I'll do, if they book the appointment, I always pre-qualify before I go.
Okay.
So that shows me intent. We have an appointment scheduled. I call them. Mainly what I want to find out is why do you want to sell and kind of get an indication how much you're looking for. And if your house is showing me on Zillow, it's worth 200 grand and you're looking for 200 grand, I'm not the guy. Like there's no sense even meeting up.
Yep.
So I try to find that out. And a lot of times people won't even tell you. They're like, I just want to show you. I'm like, well, then just give me a ballpark. And eventually they'll tell you. Then if it's like, oh, that's too high, I'm like, what's the best price you do? If they stick at that number, I know they're pretty firm. But a lot of times people be like, hey, I'm looking for 200. And they're like, well, I'd take 160. Like that's a huge swing. It's like, okay. And mainly I'm trying to find out what their situation is though to help them, because you can make win-wins here. It's like, what situation you're in? Why do you want to sell this place? Does it need too much work? You don't have the money to put into it? And mainly find out just if it's good fit. Like you can kind of go with your gut on the phone, or if you guys probably know what you're doing on the phone call.
Yeah. So when it comes down to following your gut with this, or like, what is the overall main reasons why people want to sell?
From what I see, a lot of people inherited homes. I see a lot of people, at least in Pittsburgh, they inherited a home and their parent had a whole bunch of stuff in it. And the house hasn't been touched for like 30, 40 years. Yep. So they got the property. They're like, I can't sell it. Like you can't sell it like this unless you clean it all out. But then once you do that, then you have to get it presentable.
Yeah.
So you look at how much it costs and all that kind of stuff. And then I see a lot of the hoarders. And then we're starting to get people now too. They're like, hey, I'm just moving out of town. If you give me a fair price and like, I don't have to deal with anything, I'll give you a discount.
Yeah.
Not seeing really any pre-foreclosures like we used to, stuff like that. That'll probably come back, but mainly junker house that people can't afford to fix and don't want to.
Yeah. What do you anticipate the future to be when, I know nobody has that crystal ball, but there's so many people that have been on the sidelines for like the last year or 2 years or even longer, anticipating some big crash, and they're waiting to gobble it all up at that point. And I just feel like it's not happening, so it keeps on getting delayed. But I don't know. I would love to hear your point of view on that.
Yeah, I don't think the economy can sustain like it is. I think it's kind of fake, but also the government is not going to let people lose their house. So if they continue to keep supporting people and paying their bills and letting them not work, then I don't see the market turning around anytime soon.
Yeah. I just feel like it will be another bailout in some way. Instead of bailing out the banks this time, it will be bailing out Americans and then blaming it on COVID or whatever else,
Well, it looks like our new tax returns, we're going to be the bailout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It looks like they're changing the tax law next year. So.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, so true. Well, yeah, I appreciate your opinion on that. Are you guys teaching people this stuff? Or I know you guys, like your business is doing it for people, but do you teach people this at all?
No, I don't really teach. Like I've never gotten into that space.
Okay.
We more just do it, but I do make a lot of videos. Like we actually just started making like tip videos for people that do it themselves. I just don't have the time to literally like just teach people one-on-one.
I hear you. Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious, like what is the most common mistake that you would naturally see for somebody that's brand new, like myself, being completely ignorant on all type of marketing aspects? Like what mistakes would you naturally see or anticipate me to make?
Okay. The number one mistake I see, do you know what a Facebook pixel is?
That's retargeting.
Yeah. So it's a specific piece of code that you can put on your website. And whenever people go to the website, it gives Facebook data on people's behavior and things like that. So then one of the things I see, a top one is if you're running Facebook ads, make sure that Facebook pixel is on your website.
Yeah.
You're wasting your money because a lot of people don't put it on. Just it's not your fault. You just don't know. Second is make sure they have it's called a lead or an event code in the pixel. Say you go on my website, the 412 houses, you submit the first form, it goes to step 2. That fires an event. It's called a lead. Like I named the event, it's a lead. What that does, that tells Facebook, okay, this person went to this page, and allows them to build an audience and see what kind of behavior that person has. Yeah. Once I get 100 or 1,000 people to do the same thing, they can segment all my traffic and the people that took action, see what's similar with the people that took action, and try to put my ads in front of other people like those.
Wow. Yeah. So that makes cost of leads start going down ideally, right?
Right. Yeah. So if anyone's running Facebook, 100% do that. And don't run like campaigns. Don't run link click. Only target conversions, like a lead.
Okay. Gotcha. Only target conversions. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. A lot of people waste money on I just saw a guy yesterday. He spent like $5,000 getting likes to his page, which is fine, except Facebook doesn't show really free posts. Like whoever likes your page, they limit your audience so much. Like even like you're talking about, the algorithms they want you to pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're still going to limit how many people are actually seeing your stuff. And I don't even know what it is. I believe it's like a very small fraction, correct?
Yeah, it's really small.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Cool. So do you have any scripts or certain things that maybe you could just name off the top of your head when it comes down to disqualifying an individual either over the phone or when you actually see them in person? Or, are you asking, obviously you asked why are you selling in the first place, but if all of those motivational levels kind of pan out, are you asking what the mortgage is, when's the last time repairs have been made, stuff like that?
Yeah. So normally when I'm talking with someone, I'll call them up and like, hey, this is Bryan with 412 houses. Saw you just filled out a form on our site. Wanted to give you a call, see what the deal is. I'm like, so what's going on? Tell me about your property.
Yeah.
They'll tell me. And then I'm usually going into questions like, hey, how old's the roof? How old's the furnace? Just trying to gauge the condition.
Yeah.
Once they tell me that, then I'm going to say, well, how much are you looking for? And they're usually going to say a number. Then I'll talk to them more like, well, why do you want to sell? What's the deal? And they usually don't tell you what the deal is, like up front. Like they'll tell you something, but that's really not why they're selling.
Yeah.
And then once you talk to them more, you end up finding out a little bit more like, why are they, like, what's the situation like? What can I help you with? And they'll tell you eventually. And then towards the end of the call, I'm like, okay, well, if I came out with a cash offer, what's the best price you can do? And I'd mainly want to see what that difference is. Like if you told me 100 grand and now you told me 70, that's a huge swing versus if you told me 100 grand and then you say, well, 98's the best I can do. Most likely there's a mortgage, which I'll get into. Like I'll ask them, okay, is there a mortgage or what? So it gives you a good indication on, hey, is this person motivated? And also, do they have wiggle room? And then I'll usually go meet them. One flag is anytime someone brings up a realtor to me, I'm out. Like they're like, hey, I was talking with my realtor. I'm like, you should probably just list it on the market.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're talking with the realtor like, well, could you come out and let me know how much you'd give? I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. You're starting to shop around too much. And then you already know the realtor can possibly do more in certain areas.
Right. And you know what? A lot of times they can too. Like I just told a guy a couple of weeks ago, dude, you should list this on the market. Like if I can help someone stay in their house, that's great. And then if they can't stay in there, I can make it real easy for them because I can usually overpay what other people are paying and I pay cash. So it's like, okay, we can close. There's no loops. I'm not wholesaling it, anything like that.
Yeah. So that's good. So when it comes down to if somebody wanted to do the exact same strategy, obviously they need cash to be able to pull this off to close quickly. Are you doing no contingencies and so forth?
Yeah, I usually do no contingencies. I'll still take one of my contractors with me though and walk the place and like do kind of an inspection, but it's not contingent on a sale. If I find something that's just like really a deal breaker, like something crazy, then I would probably walk. I never have, but I still protect myself because I know some stuff, but I'm not a contractor. So anyone in the business, like don't go take a professional and see, because I went into one place and they had pests like termites. The guy stuck a screwdriver through the beams.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even think that I saw it was there. I didn't realize about to fall down.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. It's so crucial to always walk through and get like a thorough inspection by the professionals that like know what the hell they're doing, right? Like we only know so much when it comes down to all the other areas of real estate. So that's good.
Yeah. And you can even pay him. Like sometimes I have an inspector, his name's Brian. I'll pay him $500 to come through just for my knowledge.
Sure.
Like the sale's not contingent on that. I'm not beating them up after that. It's just like, hey, give me the checklist of all this stuff so I can get through here remodel this place in 30 to 45 days and move it, you know?
Yeah, I did that for my first 5 properties and walked through with them in some cases. And that helped me out in so many different ways that moving forward, I knew what to look for and I started getting more confident. I don't know if that's stupid or not to not use them anymore, but thus far it's been able to help me out. And yeah, I do recommend that in the beginning for everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. So if somebody wanted to do the exact same thing, burst strategy, take it down themselves, instead of actually like wholesaling it, then they got to come up with cash, utilize credit like we teach and so forth. Are you partnering up with individuals or are you raising private money at this point?
Yeah, you know what I did? So when I started out, I financed. I found a bank in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
That did commercial loans. I put a property in LLC. I'd come up with 20% and finance the difference.
Yep.
And
Which
then
bank?
S&T Bank.
SNT. Okay.
Yeah, like S and then the and sign and then T. They're a local bank. Anyone in the area, they're awesome. They do 20-year loans, 5-year adjustable. It's like under 4% right now. So it's cool.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. I put the 20% down and cause I didn't have $100,000 laying around. Like I'm just getting into this. I'm like, okay. And then I started getting into more properties. I'm like, wait a minute, I got all this cash tied up in there too. Like, cause you got your 20% into each property.
Sure.
So then I saved up and I came up with enough money to buy the first place cash.
Okay.
I bought it, put the money into it. And then the bank will let me take 100% of my cash back out because the place is appraised. Like if I buy it and I got 130 into it and it appraises at 230, they got no problem cutting me a check for 130.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, so then that's how I did it. I started with the financing and I worked into it. I don't raise money. My partner, Chad, though, he always wanted, like I said, wanted to get into real estate and he had cash sitting there. He's like, hey, he was begging me to get into it. I'm like, if you front the money, we'll do a couple. Sure. So I did run a couple with him too, to get him involved. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. We've used Huntington Bank in Ohio area, very close to Pittsburgh, for a lot of our deals over there. And they've been awesome. So the local small banks in the area can really be like the game changer because they can get more creative with you in many different aspects in comparison, like the big banks, you know?
It's huge too. Like same with S&T Bank too. Like I put which is overkill. I put every single property I own in a separate LLC.
Sure.
So, but what they do is LLC is the one holding the debt. I'm just personally guaranteeing it too.
Yep.
So it doesn't show up on my if you don't pay it, you're personally responsible, but it's not showing up on your credit report showing like $500,000 or $1 million worth of debt.
Yeah. So basically it's not even on your personal credit report. You get a hard inquiry on there, which you can remove pretty quickly afterwards with the right education, but let alone it's not on there and it's just underneath business until, you know, God forbid, the worst case scenario, if there's late payments or anything derogatory, then it would start showing up underneath the personal.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's great.
It's cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it just frees up so much on your personal side because it is a business at the end of the day. So, I mean, yeah, it can be super more beneficial to go that route. I love it.
Right.
Cool. So if you were going to start fresh today or, you know, in comparison to, obviously you're very successful with what you've done thus far, but if you could go back and like tell yourself anything different, what would it be?
You mean just in the real estate or in life?
Yeah, well, you can answer both if you'd like. I'm sure there's a lot more to the life side, but maybe real estate.
Yeah. With the real estate side, like, so say there was someone, I don't know, because all the mistakes I made, like I learned so much from, so I probably wouldn't want to skip them.
For sure.
But they sting so bad. Like when they're happening, it really sucks. But if someone wanted to get into it now and like try to duplicate, what I would do is get a cheap website. Don't overthink it. Don't go into, hey, it's got to be fancy, design all this. Just do it. Like get the website, get some ads made, put a pixel on it, track the leads and put like $1,000 or $1,500 to ads and let it run. Like don't wait a month. You got to do this and that, make logos. That stuff doesn't matter. Get something respectable and then you can adapt whenever it's working. But if you don't take that first step, you're screwed. Like you're just going to be thinking all the time. Yeah.
You can't overthink this process, right? It's so crucial. So the website, you know, for the longest time, a lot of people are saying website leads gen is kind of like dead, but you guys are utilizing it as a form to basically fill out and qualify and just capture more of the leads.
Right. Yeah. I do everything 100% online. So lead gen's definitely out there. It's strong. If you do it right. A lot of people are wasting money. If you don't, like if you put a Facebook campaign and you're bidding on link clicks, like Facebook knows which people will watch videos. They know which people will click links and do nothing. They know which people will like pages. So whatever you ask Facebook to do,
Yeah.
they're going to give you.
Yeah.
So you have to ask, hey, I want leads. It's not like a lot of these guys will say, hey, you got to build a funnel. You got to make video views and link clicks and then get an audience and retarget them. You do have to build a funnel, but don't do it that way because that's wasteful. Go for the conversion. Tell Facebook, hey, I want, and it's going to be a lot more expensive. You're going to spend like $5 a click versus 5 cents a click.
Sure.
But you're getting the right type of people and build your audience that's quality, not garbage, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the most important thing when it comes down to data to get your leads. Like, you don't want junk. You want the real like cream of the crop. So pay the extra for it. And then you'll see the results a hell of a lot less, struggle and trial and error to get there.
And one other thing too, be patient. Like I see a lot of guys, they'll stick ads up and nothing's happening. Like give it 2 to 3 months, like let it go. It still adapt if you see something weird happening, but there's no get rich quick button. It's not like I stick up ads and boom, I'm flooded with leads. It's going to be slow. And then just keep looking and trying to see what happens in there and looking for similarities and different things like that and adapt,
That's good. That's a good marketing or like a tip right there, because I naturally would have assumed, maybe 2 weeks or so, hit all those leads and then change up something if needed. But if you're saying 3 months, is there like a certain like indication of maybe we need to cut this or maybe run it longer?
Yeah. So here's what I look at, which I guess it's kind of tough because I look at a lot of different things. But
Sure.
If I'm looking at a campaign, say I have a campaign going to an audience and I have 5 different ads inside that campaign, 5 different creatives, like a couple might be videos, couple images, stuff like that. If I look in there and in Facebook, say I spent $500, if $400 went to one of the ads and it got no clicks or like low clicks or no conversions, things like that, because Facebook will direct the money where they think is best. So if you have 5 ads at times like those, you're going to adapt and pause the one so that the spend can go to the other 4 to see if they're good. But You're going to look at things like what's your cost per click? What's your cost per lead? And if you have 5 ads running and one of them is getting a really good click rate and one of them is not, maybe divert the money there. But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question there, but normally like you look at stuff, but you don't want to be tinkering with it because if you're getting leads, don't touch it. If it's not broken, do not fix it.
Yeah. And kind of like to add on to that, it's basically just split testing. So split test several different options and, see what's performing the best and focus on that.
Yeah. One of the hardest things I had to learn was like when things are going good, don't try to make it better.
Ooh,
like so a lot of times, like I'll see this it's hard. Like campaign just hit it sometimes. I don't even know why. It's just so it's like, okay, well, you know what? That's doing really well. Let's try raising the budget or duplicating and then add another ad. And a lot of times I'll do that and then a lead just drops and then we got to completely rebuild. It's like, if you're getting good leads, let it run until it dies because it will die off.
Yeah.
But you don't have to tinker every day. It's going to hurt. It hurts you more than it helps you.
Well, and there's also certain price brackets, right? Like if you put $1,000 towards it, you might perform like amazing, but then you put 1,001 or 1,000, 1,200 or whatever, and it could totally shift things, right?
Yeah, because when you're scaling, if you're scaling your Facebook campaign, you only ever want to do it in like increments of 10%.
Okay.
It screws up the algorithm. So if you had a campaign going for $1,000, you bump it to 5,000. Like it's just different. Yeah, it's kind of shocks. Different. Yeah, so you want to do gradual changes. So yeah, their algorithm's it's finicky.
Yeah, that's so good. I love it. Well, God, I feel like there's like a ridiculous amount of content right here. You should like write a book on this stuff, or we need to have you back on here to really dive in more, just because there's so much that I can take away from this. But, is there anything in particular that you would leave with the listeners to really just make sure that they succeed in this stuff and obviously not give up before, the time's up, but anything else that you would kind of portray to them?
Yeah, main thing I would say is if you're not doing it, just get started. Like take that step and just do something, because once you take the step, say you go on Facebook, you start tinkering around, it'll take you down a road and you'll figure it out. And then also welcome those failures because like they suck. And then sometimes I'll even sit there, I'm like I have to tell myself, I'm like, hey, enjoy the ride. Yeah. Because like it sucks and you're getting beat up. But then like if I look back in the past, I'm like, that was kind of cool. Like it sucks when it's happening, but sometimes you just have to be aware and just be like, okay, this isn't working. But then to step back and get out of your head a little bit and just be aware that you're doing something, like you're taking positive steps.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, it's very, very important. I feel like naturally we can be very tough on ourselves instead of like sitting back for a second, take a deep breath and acknowledge that the ride can be good and life is good. So just enjoy it. That's good. So Bryan, do you mind just like diving into any type of links or how people can social media, how people can reach out to you, websites, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. If you want to chat, my website's motivated-leads.com. Phone number's on there, or you can just fill out a form. You can hop on a call.
Cool. So if you got any distressed properties in the Pittsburgh area, then reach out.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this guy is nothing but knowledge when it comes down to digital marketing and real estate in general. So we only covered so much here today. You definitely want to reach out to Bryan and get those missing pieces put together. Bryan, I appreciate you so much for diving into all this content, breaking it down and simplifying it for us. Because you gave all the time today to me and the listeners, is there anything that myself or any of the listeners can do to give back to you?
No, I'm pretty good. Just go ahead and do it. And if you guys go out and do something on your own, just let me know. Hey, you know what? That tip actually helped me out. You know?
Yeah. No, that's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate it so much. Guys, if you haven't reached out to him, make sure you do so. And I got a bunch of notes here myself, so I'm going to start putting this stuff into action, and very excited to have you back in the future and see what the progress is. Any, big goals that you have coming up soon, or what does the next 5 years look like for you?
The one thing I always wanted to do was be able to speak on camera. So This year, that is the goal. So I started making videos, doing podcast stuff like this, just get more natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're doing it, baby. I love it.
Yeah. So that's one of the things there. And I'm just always whenever I hit a goal, I'm always pushing. So me, I was diagnosed, which I heard your other thing too. I was diagnosed a long time ago, bipolar disorder, right?
Yep.
So I found a way to manage that was I always have 10 tasks, 10 things lined up in the future. So that's one of the reasons I buy properties. It's because if I hit a goal, then I'll go like that. It's okay, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So now I'm always buying properties. I will always have a property lined up or doing something. So I just have never ending goals.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Our mess is our message. And at the end of the day, you have I didn't even know about that. We should have dived into that in the beginning, but that's so
I usually
powerful.
don't even talk about that.
Yeah, I hear you. We'll have you on in the future and talk more about that. But dude, kudos to you for everything that you got going on. Let me know if I can be of an asset or a resource to you. And yeah, just greatly appreciate your time. Nothing but knowledge for myself and the listeners. But guys, if you want to reach out to me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. If you need any credit repair done for you services, then you can check us out at creditrepairmobile.com. And then if you're looking to get educated on credit, how the banks and lenders are judging you, how to be able to fix your credit very quickly, how to be able to build up several 6 figures, even up to 7 figures in funding, and then leveraging it into buying real estate with credit, doing hard money lending with credit, e-commerce, funding your business, travel hacking, you name it, then you can always check out our mastermind group at creditcounselelite.com and see if you qualify. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in today. As always, hit that subscribe button so you get the newest notification every single Monday, and leave a review. Share this out. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Love you guys so much, and we will see you next week on the next episode. Bryan, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be on.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.